This is the stylish ASUS Vivobook S15 OLED, powered by the new ARM-based Qualcomm Snapdragon X Elite X1E processor. This particular model comes in a sleek silver finish, and according to the specs it's supposed to be a real battery gem, while still offering enough performance for everyday tasks like browsing, office work and much more. I bought this notebook for friends who needed a new computer, so just to be clear, this video is not sponsored. They needed good battery life, docking support at 2 locations and no gaming or editing, just a simpler setup to replace 2 tower PCs. That said, if you know me, you already know what's coming. I will test video editing, photo editing and some light gaming anyway, just to see how far this thing can go. But before that, let's start with the basics, I would say. We will unbox the device, check out the tech specs, keyboard, trackpad, the 15-inch OLED display, speaker loudness, fan noise, and the webcam quality and all that fancy stuff. And there's only one thing left to do for you. If you enjoy my videos, please do me a favor, like and subscribe. Thanks in advance. Alright, I would say let's get right into it. Alright, this is the box of the ASUS Vivobook S with the Snapdragon processor. To be precise, when we turn it around, we have here the specification you can see. So we have here the S5507Q. It comes in the silver edition and it has a 15.6 OLED display with the Snapdragon X Elite X1E7 8100. It includes a 1TB SSD and also 16GB of RAM. Alright, so let's open it. And here we have the device. After opening the box, the first thing I recognize is that there is almost no plastic, or there is no plastic. Here we have a separate sleeve and here is the notebook inside. But before we have a look at the notebook here, let's check the accessories. So I put this aside. First of all, you have some documents here. So you have a warranty card, you have a quick starting guide. You can see here everything. In that case, it's the German edition, therefore it's in German. It says Benutzerhandbuch. Let's put this also aside. And then you have here an additional card with support and MyASUS system diagnose page. So if you need it, you can check it. Then let's check out the box here. So here you can find the charger. So this charger, this is the first plastic stuff I see here. So the first one is the charger. It's not that big. It's a USB-C charger, as you can see here. Okay, and let's check the watts. There you can see it supports 90 watt output. So it's a fast charging device. It's not too big. It's also not too lightweight. And when you have a closer look at this charger, you see not only ASUS here, you also see the 90 watt here. You look it, yeah, so you can see it here. It's hard to read from that angle, but when the light is in the right angle, you see 90 watt. And on the other side, for sure, you have the other plug, which must be plugged in here, and this goes into your power outlet. So let's put this aside. Let's check if there is something here. Nope, there is also nothing here. And on the other side, okay, and after checking everything, I think that's all. So this is everything what was in this package, from the packaging to the main star to the notebook. I've already shown you the sleeve here, and let's unpack it here as well. Let's remove this. And as you can see, this looks very great. It is fully in silver. It comes with Microsoft Copilot. So this is optimized also for new AI tools and applications. And here you can see, it says here ASUS Vivobook. On the bottom, you can see for the fans, there are openings. You have those pads on the bottom. On the right and on the left side, you have for sure for the speakers here openings. Then I would say let's have a quick look at the ports here. On the left side, you have an HDMI port here. You have 2 USB-C, where you can also charge your notebook here for sure. Then you have a micro SD card slot. That's very nice. Although a normal SD card slot would be better, in my opinion. And here you have a simple mic jack. So this is also cool, and for headphones as well. Good. On the other side, you have 2 more USB-A here. It says 5 gigabits, so that's very cool. They are very fast. And here you have some LED lights for battery and for SSD activities or so. Let's open it here. Okay. This looks also great. You have here a protection fleece or something like that. Very useful. Here you can see the keyboard. It's a huge keyboard here, including a numpad. So this is also cool. And also the touchpad here is very huge. And here you can see also a sticker. You have to remove it. And you see here some gestures printed on it. So this is really cool. You can use this side to lower or to raise the volume. Here the brightness and some other functions here. We will test out everything. On this side you can see it includes a Snapdragon X Elite. So this sticker says it. You have Dolby Atmos featured by Harman Kardon sound, very high quality speakers. Plus here you can see also a sticker with a description of some features here, like the OLED display, the only 1.42 kilograms, 14.7 millimeter thin, 70 watt battery, which gives you up to 18 plus hours of battery life. We will test this as well later. Then you have the Copilot on board, HDMI, Energy Star certification, so it looks great. So on the other side here you can see the screen. It's a glossy one, as you can see here. And it's an OLED display, so the black should be very accurate. And on the top of the screen you have your webcam built in. Plus they have a cover here, you can move it physically to the side and you close the webcam here for privacy. And then I would say we are done with the unpacking scene. Let's go right into the technical specifications. All right, now that everything's out of the box, let's take a closer look at what we're dealing with. This is the ASUS Vivobook S15 OLED. By the way, don't wonder why I say sometimes ASUS and not ASUS. This is how we pronounce this in German, and this happens from time to time. So back to the notebook. What makes it special is that it's the first Snapdragon X Elite laptop from ASUS. Yep, it's powered by the brand new ARM-based Snapdragon X Elite X1E chip. And that's kind of a big deal because Windows on ARM is slowly but surely becoming more viable. Now for me personally, this isn't my first time testing the ARM-based notebook. The first one I tried was the ultra-light Lenovo Yoga 7X 14-inch laptop. And if you're curious about that one, feel free to check out my review right here. But back to the ASUS Vivobook. The model I have here features a 15.6-inch 3K OLED Lumina display with a resolution of 2880 by 1620 pixels and a 120 Hz refresh rate, which is awesome to see on a productivity laptop. As expected with OLED, the color pop blacks are deep and everything looks super crisp right out of the box. Definitely a plus if you're into media consumption or even some light creative work. Spec-wise, we've got a 16GB of RAM, a super fast 1TB PCIe 4.0 SSD, and a surprisingly light build, just 1.42 kilograms, with a slim profile of only 14.7 millimeters. The chassis is more metal, which gives it a more premium feel compared to some other models in this category. And speaking of mobility, ASUS claims up to 18 hours of battery life, so in theory, you should be able to get through a full day without needing to reach out for the charger. Now, powering all of this is the Snapdragon X Elite chip, which comes with 12 cores without hyper-threading though, running up to 3.4 GHz and includes Qualcomm's AI engine, boosting the AI performance thanks to its dedicated NPU. That might not mean much on paper yet, but with more AI-enhanced apps rolling out, it could become a real advantage over time. Thermals are handled by ASUS ice-cool tech, and in quiet mode it should run at around 20 watts, while in performance mode it boosts up to 50 watts. That's not bad at all for an ARM-based system, though it comes at a price: fan noise. That said, ASUS seems to have done a decent job balancing thermals and acoustics, and I will definitely show you how that translates in real-world use. One thing to keep in mind though, since this is a Windows on ARM, not every app or game will run smoothly or at all, as I've already figured out in the Lenovo Yoga 7 review. Compatibility has improved and emulation is better than it used to be, but we are not there yet, so I will be testing that too. So long story short, let's boot up this powerhouse. When you start the notebook for the first time, you will go through the usual Windows 11 setup process, entering your details, signing in or creating a Microsoft account, and after a few reboots, you're all set. Welcome to Windows 11. I immediately ran all the available Windows updates, and that's when I noticed there is a pre-installed app called MyASUS. Now, if you know me, you know I'm not a big fan of bloatware, but I have to admit this one is actually quite useful. You can adjust a lot of system settings directly from the app, which is pretty handy. Alright, back to the notebook and specifically the keyboard. As you saw the unboxing, it includes a full layout with a numpad, which is always a nice bonus. The typing feel is tactile and responsive, and the backlight can be adjusted in 4 levels. It's bright enough even when the room isn't completely dark. In general, I would say it's suitable for longer writing sessions without a problem. But I did notice 2 small things. First, the coating on the keys doesn't feel very smooth to me. Just a personal preference, but it's worth pointing out. Second, the key color. The keyboard is silver and the letters are cut out in a bluish translucent style. It looks clean, but when you use the backlight during the day, it can sometimes be hard to read the keys clearly. And as for how well that coating will hold up for time, well, only time will tell. Quick side note, in the MyASUS software under the exclusive section, I found the keyboard settings kind of hidden, but super handy. You can adjust a bunch of things, including the RGB lighting. I played around with a few colors, but honestly, for my silver model here, I think plain white still looks the cleanest. Okay, then let's briefly check the trackpad. I will remove the sticker now and see how it feels. Yeah, it actually feels quite good. Here's how the click sounds. Nothing special, just solid. It feels okay, and it's definitely big enough for daily use. The gestures function on the side works decently too, although I'm not sure I would use it all the time, but that's probably just a matter of habit. All in all, I like it. Nothing to complain about here. Let's move our side a bit up and check out the display. It's OLED, so the blacks are really black and the contrast is awesome. You can just see how bright it gets, and you can adjust it using the buttons on the keyboard or by using the touchpad on the very right side to slide up and down, which gives you the same effect. The display comes with 600 nits, so it's bright but not the brightest. So keep in mind that using it outside with the glossy display could be a bit tricky. The display also has a 3K resolution, so there's really no comparison. The 120Hz refresh rate is super fast, and working with the mouse or moving windows around happens in real time without any delays. Alright, let's move on with the speaker quality check. They support Dolby Atmos and are branded by Harman Kardon, so that's at least promising. I will play some music from Epidemic Sound to avoid any copyright issues. And as you can hear, they are, let's say, okayish. Like with most notebooks, we are missing the deep bass, but overall the sound is decent. But if you need a full sound experience, I would definitely recommend using an external speaker or high quality headphones with better bass. And since we are already talking multimedia, the cooling system is quite powerful. So next, let's measure the fan noise in the idle mode and then run a benchmark to see how loud it gets when the fans really kick in. First of all, I've already set the fan profile in the MyASUS app to whisper mode. I tested it while running on battery, and when you're just browsing the web, checking some news sites or YouTube or doing some light scripting in Word, it stays super silent. When I check my app on my iPhone, we are around 30 to 33 decibel. By the way, talking about battery life, I had the laptop with me all day, and yep, it made it through without needing a charge. I doubt you will hit the full 18 hours they promise, but honestly, in real world use with a mix of browsing, YouTube and working in Word on whisper mode, I would say 12 hours is totally realistic, and that's actually pretty solid. One quick side note about the battery life: after using it almost the whole day and still having around 21% left, I decided to plug it in, and that's when I noticed another useful feature. There's an option to limit the maximum charge to 80% to help preserve the battery's health. So when this setting is enabled, the Vivobook charges only up to 80% while plugged in, which can extend the battery's overall lifespan. But now it's time to challenge the device a bit. Let's run a benchmark. I will go with Cinebench R23 since they offer a native version for ARM processors. Bonus, we will also get some actual performance numbers out of it. So I would say connect the notebook to the power supply, change the performance level to our performance full speed mode, check the fan noise with a phone app and see how it performs under load. And since each test takes about 10 minutes, I will do a quick fast forward here, so the video doesn't end up running forever. So as you can see, during the multi-CPU test, it renders a picture several times and the fans spin up, as you can hear. And yes, they do get quite loud. Under full load, they stayed between 63 and 64 decibels with an average of 63.5 according to my measurements. The Cinebench score came in at 1118 points, which puts it in the 4th place in the ranking. Not bad at all. Also, just to point out, the top 3 spots are all taken by CPUs with more cores. Just saying. During the second single CPU test, the fan noise was almost quiet, maybe a slight humming around 38 decibels, so nothing really disturbing, almost silent. The scores, as you can see here, it reached 72 points, which puts it in the 6th place. Alright, that said, I would say next topic. Let's check out the webcam quality a bit. This is a full HD 1080p webcam with a physical privacy shutter, and the quality is actually decent for a built-in cam. Perfectly fine for video calls or quick meetings. If you want to level things up, I would definitely recommend adding some lighting, and honestly I still prefer using an external webcam for that extra sharpness. What's kind of fun though are the Windows Studio effects. Auto framing keeps you nicely centered, portrait light tweaks the lighting a bit, and the eye contact feature is surprisingly effective. Even if you're not looking at the lens, it makes it look like you are. Adds a nice personal touch. There's also a background blur which looks fine, but I personally prefer the portrait blur since it keeps some of the background visible. And yeah, the creative filters exist, but let's be real, I probably won't be using those in a serious call. Well, I think that's all for the capability checks. Let's continue with my already teasered software performance tests. My first candidate, my favorite editing software, DaVinci Resolve Studio 19. I downloaded this on purpose and not the public beta of version 20, just to be sure that this version is stable. Thankfully, there's already a native version for ARM processors available. Once installed, I loaded up an older YouTube video project to compare export times with the Lenovo Yoga 7X and the MacBook Pro M4 Pro, both of which handled the task in roughly the same time. It was around 7 to 8 minutes. You can check out that comparison video right here. Starting DaVinci Resolve Studio 19. Open the project and let's click through the timeline and play it back. Okay, that looks good. For standard sequences it runs smoothly. Jumping across the timeline works just fine too. Sure, once you hit the clip with effects it starts to lag, but to be fair, that was also the case with the Lenovo. Only the MacBook M4 Pro handled that in real time, both video and audio. Anyways, let's export it now. Standard settings: 4K, MP4, 50K bitrate, add to render queue and start rendering. While we're at it, let's also check the fan noise again. I will fast forward the export here, and interestingly the average noise level was 53.2 decibels, which is okay in comparison to the 63.5 we had during the Cinebench multi-core test. Export time was also around 8 minutes, also totally fine. So just like with the Lenovo, you can definitely work on smaller video projects here, but for more complex ones I would clearly recommend a machine with more power. Okay, let's briefly test Photoshop. I will open the RAW file and check how fast we can edit it and if there is any lag. So far so good. You can smoothly change the white balance or adjust other settings in real time without any delay. Let's check a few more functions here. Again, no issues at all. Honestly, that's what I expected. Now let's test the AI denoise function, which needs a lot of processing power. I remember on the MacBook Pro M4 it took around 2 to 4 minutes, so pretty fast. Okay, 14 minutes it says, that is definitely more. Well, let's start it and see how long it actually will take. Fast forward and yep, it took 14 to 15 minutes, that's long, but it worked. So you can simply edit everything in a RAW file. I see no issues there. Functions with a pretty complex processing needs more time, but when we are back in Photoshop reducing the size or so, this works again very fast. So it is totally usable for photo editing. And by the way, because of the awesome OLED display, the colors look vibrant and great. Alright, nothing to add here. Let's switch to the Epic Games launcher and continue with gaming. As I've already mentioned, I've already downloaded compatible games for the ARM system, at least according to some websites. I'm curious if they really run on the Snapdragon chip with the Adreno GPU. I'm speaking about Subnautica, I think not that of a demanding game, and then Control, which for sure needs more power to run smoothly. But let's start with Subnautica, which I really like. So let's see how Subnautica performs. By the way, Subnautica drops you into an alien ocean with nothing but a wetsuit and your wits. You swim around, build cool bases and try not to get eaten by giant sea monsters, and somehow it's both super chill and terrifying at the same time. It's one of those games where you say just 5 more minutes and suddenly it's 2 AM. And yeah, all in all, I really like the game, and it's cool that it obviously is totally playable on the ASUS Vivobook. The animations are not lagging, the OLED display does an awesome job showing you vibrant colors, so no twerks at all here. Okay, but I really need to stop here, otherwise this review is going to go on forever. Second test is Control, like I mentioned earlier. Honestly, I was hooked. I already played through it once before and yep, it pulled me in again. Quick look at the settings, I dropped it down to 1080p and went with mostly low settings. I tested higher ones too, wasn't totally unplayable, but you feel it when it's not running super smooth. Anyway, the game itself is just wild. Control drops you into this bizarre government facility where nothing behaves normally. Walls shift, random objects float mid-air, and suddenly you're the director with a shape-shifting gun. It's like X-Files meets Inception or something like that, and your brain is constantly like, wait, what is going on here? But in a good way, you know. The whole thing is super weird, but it totally works. The story is cool, the music hits at the right moments, and yes, it even got some Max Payne vibes. And the best part, you can actually play this on this notebook. I was honestly surprised. Sure, the fans kick in, but even then it's not crazy loud. That's a win. Alright, maybe a quick test of a Microsoft gaming collection title as well. Microsoft Ultimate Word Games, just to check if it runs smoothly on the Snapdragon. And yep, no issues here, the game opens, runs just fine, and I could jump right into a round of the word quiz. And that was actually kind of fun, but let's stop here because we've still got the final conclusion coming up, right? Right. So in summary, this notebook does exactly what I expected, and I think it's going to be a great fit for what my friends need it for. And on top of that, I can handle some basic video and photo editing without any issues, and even run a few older games at lower resolution. as long as they're compatible. But let's be honest, the list of supported titles isn't huge, and I don't think anyone's really picking up this laptop with gaming as the main priority anyway. Now, in terms of hardware, the build quality is really solid. It's super light for its size. The keyboard and trackpad are absolutely fine for everyday tasks. The webcam is good enough for quick video calls, and the speakers, while not super bass heavy, are still usable and okay for media. The OLED display though is honestly a highlight. It's sharp, colorful and just looks fantastic. What I personally really like is that in whisper mode, when you're just browsing the web, doing some office work or watching videos, the fans are completely silent. And even if they do run, you won't hear them at all, which is super pleasant for quiet environments. Sure, in performance mode under full load, the fans do get quite loud, but for the usual use case, that shouldn't be a big issue at all. So yeah, overall I would say this is a very solid work device with long battery life, and if your needs match what this machine is built for, I think you will definitely have fun using the ASUS Vivobook S15 with the new Snapdragon X Elite processor. The full package sits at around €1,000 or dollars depending on where you buy it. And on Amazon there are often discounts available. I actually grabbed it during a promotion for about €880 for my friends, which I would really say was a real bargain. Alright, so far so good. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, feel free to like and subscribe here to the channel if you haven't already. As always, if you got any questions, drop them down below in the comments and I will make sure to personally answer every single one. And if you want to check out more videos from me, well, here you go. Stay healthy, take care, and I will see you in the next one.